Wednesday, April 6, 2016. Welcome to Mornings on the Hill. I'm Hunter Sines.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. It's time to get your orange juices flowing with a look at today's headlines.
It was a David versus Goliath matchup for the Syracuse women against UConn in Indy last night. We'll have all the details of the NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship game.
And a donut shop in East Syracuse is becoming a hot spot for many SU students. Find out why so many are making the 15-minute commute just for breakfast.
Plus, Syracuse University Student Association elections are fast approaching. This year's 3 presidential candidates will join us live in studio to discuss the issues they hope to tackle.
Last night, the Syracuse women faced off against Connecticut in the NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship.
Several members of the SU community decided to make the trip out to Indianapolis to support the team in its championship run. This season marked the first ever Final Four and national championship appearances for SU women's basketball.
And while the drama played out in Indiana, many SU students decided to stay local and headed out to bars on Marshall Street to catch the action. Fagan's Pub was a popular sight for fans who were quietly hoping for an orange upset of the undefeated Huskies. The UConn women's team headed into the night in pursuit of its 6th undefeated season in school history and 4th straight national championship.
And unfortunately, the game itself didn't provide much drama as the Huskies got ahead early and never looked back, winning by a final score of 82-51. Even though some Orange fans were disappointed in the final outcome, others recognized the historic significance for Coach Quentin Hillman's team and the strides they made this season.
I think tonight was a disappointment at all. I think that they tried their best. They really got out there. They really did it. So I'm super proud. I feel really glad to be an SU Orange fan for both the men and the women, especially the women because they've made it so far.
And well, it's always hopes for next year, right? On both men and women's side.
They'll make it next year.
Hopefully
Fingers crossed.
So. That's right.
And so we heard
to grow more throughout the future in order for us to help more people in the community.
the Food Recovery Network, or FRN, is a national organization with a mission to put an end to food waste. Here at SU and ESF, a chapter works in Graham Dining Hall and the Trailhead Cafe. At the end of each day, members package up leftover food, weigh it, and drive it to local shelters to help those in the community that need it. Shiwa Shawani, the chapter president, explained that FRN works with 6 shelters in the community.
De Palmer, the Salvation Army, Dorothy Day, the Chadwick residents, Sarah's House, and the Teen Challenge. Shwani is asking anyone who wants to get involved to check out their Facebook page and to email frnesfsu@gmail.com. And the reason?
Food helps the people in the community. I have seen it when I do go in the homeless shelters. But it's just, they're so appreciative.
The results are in from Wisconsin's primary, with Cruz and Sanders coming out on top. Setbacks are in store for frontrunners Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Senator Bernie Sanders continued his winning streak against Clinton when he took 56% of the Democratic vote. Ted Cruz took 48% of the Republican vote, taking home 33 delegates and leaving Trump with only 3. Governor John Kasich walked away with only 14% of the votes and 0 delegates.
With both frontrunners falling short last night, this election is far from over.
And back here in New York, our primary is less than 2 weeks away, and it's shaping up to be very important for both the Democratic and Republican races.
For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton served as U.S. Senator for New York, and one of her former staffers think that this is a big advantage in her race with Bernie Sanders. Court Ruddy, who served as a speechwriter for Clinton, spoke at the panel at SU. He said he believes New Yorkers won't forget what Clinton did for the state once it's time to cast their vote in the primaries.
our U.S. Senator for 8 years, and I think that when it comes to New York, people remember that, remember what she did for agriculture, what she did for working families, and I think that that's what will carry her through on primary day, and it's all the work that she's done for New York and for New Yorkers.
Locally, the race for Congress is heating up. Colleen Deacon, the Democratic challenger to incumbent Congressman John Katko, said at the same panel that she would better represent middle-class voters. She noted at one point that she received Medicare benefits and also the WIC program for women, infant, and children.
You know, how many members of Congress can actually say that they've used the programs that they're voting on, whether it's Social Security and Medicare or food stamps and Medicaid? I want to go to Congress and take that perspective to be a real voice for real people.
Deacon formerly worked for U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Her opponent, Congressman Katko, is seeking his second term.
For the Student Association here on campus is fast approaching.
Our own Monica Hammer joins us now as she sits down with the 3 SA presidential candidates on the ballot this year. Good morning, Monica.
Thanks, Nicole and Hunter. I'm here with Eric Evangelista, Charlie Mastaloni, and Andrew Brendel. They are the 3 candidates for Student Association president this year. Thank you all for being here today. Now, just to start off, can I just have you all go and tell me a little bit about your platforms this year? Eric, let's start with you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having all of us today. We really appreciate it. My platform is called CARE for SU. CARE stands for Committed to Collaboration, Anti-Discriminatory, Ready for Reform, and Excited for Excellence. And under those 4 policy positions and platforms are being formed under, a wide variety of different initiatives that Joyce and I, my running mate Joyce Saland, are hoping to incorporate during our first year if elected.
And Charlie, why don't you go ahead and explain your platform
Absolutely.
a bit?
Well, first off, again, thanks, Monica, for having us here. Our platform consists of 4 main pillars: culture, community, diversity, and safety. And under those, we've identified specific tangible initiatives that we want to accomplish. So for example, under culture, something that we want to do is we want to work to partner with ESF students to really empower their ideas to make the campus more green. Something under community that we really want to look into doing is having an SA-sponsored innovation series where we actually look to have friendly competition between students and fund their ideas through that. And then diversity, a main part of that is that we really want to work to create a committee to really address the issues of diversity on campus and make the campus more inclusive for everyone.
Thank you so much, Charlie.
Absolutely.
And Andrew, what about your campaign? What have you been focusing on?
Also, thank you for having me. Our campaign is focused on progress and unity. We'd like to first unite the student body together, and then together as a whole, make decisions that benefit all of us and make tangible progress that can be measured. On the front of diversity, we have already received immense support from various student organizations for students of color, and we hope that we can give them an equal voice on this campus. Also, on the grounds of financial reform, we'd like to see the cost of textbooks included in the cost of tuition that we already are paying for.
Now, some of you mentioned diversity when you were just speaking about your campaigns. Can you speak to that a little bit? Do you think diversity is a problem here on campus?
In itself, Syracuse is such an amazingly diverse school, and I think that we're blessed with that. There's just so many people from so many different backgrounds, so many different cultures, and I think that's something that we really need to embrace here. Just the other day, Jess and I, my running mate Jess Brasovsky, we both went into the Alpha Phi Alpha chapter here at Syracuse, and we listened to a lot of the concerns they have. Some of them include the fact that many of them feel that their voices right now aren't being heard, and that's really something that we really want to work with them and work with all people from all different backgrounds to really change and give them a voice within Student Association.
Well, we do have diversity within our student body. We think that there is a long way to go with diversity, as far as our student body and as far as staff and faculty. Many students of color feel that they are not equally represented in the staff here, and they feel sometimes alienated or disenchanted when they walk into a classroom or walk into an academic building and see only one professor or staff that is of a minority.
And to go off of that, one of the things that Joyce and I have been working on is the second pillar of our platform, anti-discriminatory. It's great to have diversity. We are a very diverse school, and we are making tremendous strides in order to bridge the gap between minority students and those who are more advantaged. But it's also important to make sure that the students who are already here, the incoming student population, is not being discriminated against in any way, shape, or form. So we're really hoping to make sure that the University Code of Conduct is being held to the highest standard possible. We're looking to eliminate all of the bias that could be present on this campus, as well as ensuring that future classes are going to be as diverse as possible.
Definitely an issue that you all seem to be very focused on coming up with the election. And now moving on to your current involvement in SA. Eric, you are a current member, and Charlie, you've been a member in the past. Can you speak to that a little bit? Do you think that prepares you for taking on the role?
Absolutely. I am currently the longest serving member of the organization. I have more experience with SA than any other member on this campus, any other person on this campus. I'm also the recorder, so I'm the only person who currently sits on cabinet. And one of the things that has prepared me very well for is being informed about the initiatives that SA's been working on. We're able to get an inside glimpse into the work that's currently being done so that we know how to better further that in the future. And what's great about picking a running mate like Joyce Lalonde, who has never had any experience with SA, but has had a wealth of experience outside of it, is that she is bringing that outsider perspective, whereas I have the institutional knowledge necessary to be successful.
Andrew, do you think that you have that outsider perspective that Eric was just talking about?
Certainly. I think that in this, for this job, you don't necessarily need to be a member or a current past member of the Student Association. All that you need to be qualified for this is to have an understanding of the issues on our campus and a passion to fix these problems. And I don't think that my lack of SA experience hinders me at all in that.
Going off that a bit too, Jess and I both have been in student association. Both of us entered freshman year, and both of us combined have the most experience out of any combined candidates here running. And so what we bring that's unique is that we both have an inside and outside perspective of student association. So both of us have been inside the organization, and both of us have been outside the organization. So we both bring that experience that we know how to run the organization, how to go into it efficiently and get things done. And at the same time, we know how to really sit down and listen to concerns of students outside of it, you know? And that's something that we're really actively working to change. That's why we're listening to students.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, all three of you, for being here today. Best of luck to you next week.
Thank you very much.
And voting begins on MySlice next week on April 11th. Students will be able to start casting their ballots online for SA Comptroller, President, and Vice President. Students will be able to vote through April 14th.
Thanks, Monica. After the break, we thought it was springtime, but Mother Nature sure pulled a fast one on us.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Kathleen O'Hare will tell us if it's going to warm up anytime soon.
And the Orange men were in the Final Four over the weekend.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Jacob Reynolds will have a report from his trip to Houston. Color tie this morning thinking spring was already here.
As did I.
Yeah, but Mother Nature had a different story to tell.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Kathleen O'Hare is in the newsroom with more on this change in the weather.
That's right. We may be about a week into April, but it feels a lot more like February outside. Just last week, students were soaking up the sun and enjoying the nearly 70-degree temperatures, but now just a few days later, it's a different story. I spoke to students earlier this week to get their thoughts on these temperatures hanging around.
Slush, ice, and snow. That's what students woke up to over the weekend, and that cold has stuck around. An April snowstorm might be a shock to some, but students we spoke to have taken it in stride.
I'm not really surprised. I'm a tour guide and I give tours almost every day, and I say almost every time that it's always going to snow the first week in April, and here we are. So,
I mean, I'm a freshman, so I've never experienced Syracuse weather before, and we had such a mild winter. I guess I deserved some of this.
I've been living in Syracuse for 19 years now, so it doesn't really surprise me. Still depressing nonetheless, but yeah, not a big shocker.
Especially for tried and true Syracuse residents, it's just like any other April.
Yeah, almost every single year. I mean, you'll get it sometime or another.
But while they may not be surprised to have wintry weather this late in the year, it doesn't mean walking around campus was any easier.
I actually slipped on my walk to campus, so maybe we need a little bit better of the sidewalk crew.
Walking up the stairs, you have to grab the railing, which sucks because my hands are cold and I don't have gloves.
And those driving had a tough time as well.
I took off my snow tires 2 weeks ago because I thought we were done for, so I couldn't drive as fast as I wanted to. I stayed in the middle lane, the speed limit, so a little later than usual.
You may think this dip in temperatures will be over and done with soon, but not so fast. Expect it to stay pretty cold for the next week, especially this weekend when temperatures will hover around freezing. Expect to see some more snow flurries on Friday and some colder, rainy weather on Monday and Tuesday. Thankfully, we should be back up in the 50s by the end of the week to have some pretty seasonable weekend. Nicole and Hunter, back to you on the set.
Well, we hope so, Kathleen. Thanks. After months of waiting, students are excited to finally know the lineup for this year's block party.
University Union announced Sunday that Chainsmokers and Chance the Rapper with special guest Jon Bellion will be closing the Mayfest celebrations later this month.
Floor tickets for the event were sold out within the first hour of the Monday sales.
Frustration and disappointment led some students to start an online petition asking University Union and the Dome event staff to allow more floor tickets, but neither party has publicly responded to the petition or request.
The block party concert is set to take place April 29th at 7 p.m. in the Carrier Dome.
Campus is still buzzing about a special lecture guest, Madeleine Albright. The former Secretary of State stopped by Hendricks Chapel yesterday to discuss ethics, citizenship, and public responsibility.
Albright was the first woman to become Secretary of State, appointed by Bill Clinton back in 1996.
She was invited to SU by the Maxwell School as part of the Tanner Lecture Series, and students and faculty filled the chapel all the way up through the balcony to hear her talk about international affairs, which brought what Albright claims require a sense of humor.
That's right.
Good morning. Joining us today is arts journalism graduate student Diange Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Now, you are a development apprentice with New York Victory Theater in New York City, and you recently just completed an event where you got to meet and work with some Tuskegee Airmen. Yes. So what can you tell us about that?
So it was a Tuskegee Airmen event that was run by our head of our board of directors, who are the Rudin family. They've been huge donors for the New Victory Theater, so they thought of this idea to commemorate the Tuskegee Airmen because New Victory started this new show called Fly, honoring their story. And so the event was there to have a talk back, an educational program for the students, during the talk back for the adults so that they can go and learn what it's like to be Tuskegee Airmen. And then afterwards, there was a dinner where we all sat and got to chat and talk to them about their experiences.
And what was it like to sit and talk with, living members of U.S. history, these Tuskegee Airmen? What was that like?
It was absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I should pinch myself because I couldn't believe that these men who've experienced the war themselves and have actually experienced it were actually there in the flesh sharing their stories. And as black men who were told throughout their lives that because they're black, they aren't incapable of being pilots, but they didn't listen to that little voice and they continued to fight for what they believed in.
And how, you got to see the play.
Mm-hmm.
How did they do, kind of airplanes and flying on the stage?
Well, it was really interesting because you would think that they'd have like this huge, fake plane, chunky thing sitting on the stage. But what they did, which was incredible, was that they had these chairs that they would set, and then they had these projections. So they had these like mirrors behind them, and they had projections from flights that occurred during the actual war that they were able to take and use that as projections, and they would sit on these chairs and kind of lean back and have these effects of these planes as if they're actually there riding them. So it was incredible how they did that.
Well, it sounds like an incredible experience. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and best of luck to you in your studies.
Thank you.
Hunter and Nicole, back to you.
Well, a big weekend for Orange basketball as both teams made the Final Four.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Jacob Reynolds was in Texas for the men's game.
The Orange men's basketball team was headed to Houston in the Final Four, so of course we here at Mornings on the Hill couldn't miss it. We hopped on a plane and we're headed for Texas. And Syracuse kicking off an ACC game tonight. We're pumped for it. We've seen a lot of Orange around town at FanFest earlier. Should be a good Orange SU crowd. We were in the stadium right after that, and soon after the second game, the Orange came out to warm up, and then it was time for player introductions and some really cool pregame video effects. And then it was game time, but a tough one for the Orange as they would fall to UNC. And just like that, unfortunately, it's all over for the Orange men's basketball team here, and it's time for us to leave Houston, but we had a great time, and the women still have games to play, so hopefully they can pull it out against Washington, and we still have some Orange left to watch in the Final Four.
Yeah, why so many students are on the Hill driving all the way east to Syracuse to get breakfast.
And it's not only because the tasty donuts are making a difference story next. Many of us grab our coffee and breakfast on Marshall Street as we make our way to work or class, but a donut shop in East Syracuse is becoming a popular spot for several students. I went to find out why so many people from the Hill are taking the extra 15 minutes just to get a bite in the mornings, and it's not just because of the donuts.
Every morning, Nikki Raptis opens the kitchen doors to her donut shop at 3 a.m.
The first thing I said, "Good Lord, good morning, just you and me."
She then gets to work. From plain glazed to chocolate coconut, even lemon cookies, Nikki makes just about anything your taste buds could desire, and it's all homemade. Her donuts sell for just 75 cents a piece. She hasn't raised the price in years. But still, there's one small problem. The donut shop is cash only, creating many instances like the time SU professor Kelsey Sobel stopped by.
So I pick out my 12 donuts with the help of Nikki.
When I put the donuts together, she gives me a credit card. So I said to her, I'm sorry, I don't take credit cards.
So I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'll go to the bank, let me go get cash, I'll be right back.
I said, you're not going nowhere. You stay here, take the donuts and go.
She's like, just come pay me later. And I just was totally floored.
I said, when you're coming back, someday come back and pay me.
And that's exactly what Kelsey did. She first tried coming back the next day, but the donut shop was already closed, so she went back the following day and finally paid Nikki.
She proceeds to tell me that she closes at 3 now because her husband is in the hospital.
Nikki's husband, Bill, was critically hurt in a hit-and-run car accident. He's been in the hospital for nearly 9 months.
I said my goodbyes to her and I went out to my car and I sat there and I called my husband right away and I just started bawling. I just could not believe that somebody who is dealing with so much goes so far out of their way to show extreme kindness.
So Kelsey decided it was now her turn to give back.
After that, so many kids, they start coming in. And then they explained to me about the teacher.
That's right. Kelsey shared Nikki's story with her class, asking her students to bring business to the donut shop, and in return, they would receive extra credit.
I love them to pieces. Those girls, they come here, they take pictures with me.
And as for Kelsey?
I can't explain how much I appreciate her. Maybe she doesn't know, but I just love her to pieces. She done so much for me.
An inspiring story, 2 people paying it forward while teaching a new generation how they too can make a difference.
Well, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, we've got you covered. Lots of things to do this weekend on the Hill. Thursday is opening day for the Syracuse Chiefs. They take on the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs in their home opener. First pitch is at 2:05 p.m. And also, UU Cinemas will show an advanced screening of The Huntsman Winter's War at 8 p.m. in Gifford Auditorium. On Friday, the final event of It's On Us Week. The Breakthrough Us workshop on gender, sexual violence, and activism is from 3 to 5 p.m. Contact Samantha Scholar to participate. Friday night, you can also see another Chiefs game at 6:35, or if you'd like to see a hockey game, the Crunch take on the Albany Devils at 7 p.m. Looking ahead to Saturday, an event a lot of students have been looking forward to for months. Country music icon Luke Bryan will perform in the Carrier Dome. Tickets sold out a while ago. The show starts at 7:30 p.m., but if you can't make the concert, Orange After Dark is showing a midnight movie in Gifford Auditorium, Daddy's Home. It's a Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg comedy. That starts at 11:30 p.m. Finally, on Sunday, you head downtown to Kitty Hoyne's Irish Pub and Restaurant to volunteer and donate for the St. Baldrick's Day event at noon. It's a charity event to help fight against cancer. Now we'll take a look ahead at your weekend forecast. Today is going to be chilly and windy. A wind advisory is in effect. Tomorrow will be warmer but rainy. Friday, you're looking at snow showers and a little bit cooler. Saturday, it's going to cool down, a low of 20 degrees, but no precipitation. And finally, on Sunday, the sun might peak out a bit, but temperatures will be in the 24 to 34 range throughout the day. What this all indicates, well, typical April weather in Syracuse.
All right, Max, thanks. Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton made a recent visit to the city of Syracuse.
Clinton made several stops in the city. She first attended a panel on manufacturing alongside several prominent New York business owners. In the afternoon, Clinton held a rally with support from Mayor Stephanie Miner and New York Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul.
But most important to the SU community, Clinton made a stop for lunch right by campus at Varsity Pizza. Students rushed to the spot hoping for a chance to meet the presidential hopeful or even just to catch a glimpse of her as she headed back out on the campaign trail. And a lot of them will be coming through here as the primary here in New York gets underway. I know a lot of the Republicans will focus here in upstate.
Right, I had talked to the Onondaga County Republican office a few weeks ago, and they were expecting it just to be a mad dash of the Republican candidates through here.
We'll have to see how it plays out.
It'll be an exciting time. That's all the time we have this morning. Thank you for squeezing the most out of your morning with us. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Hunter Sines. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.